It's Miss Vitale. This is the second podcast in a series of podcasts on plants for AP Biology. I ended the last podcast with angiosperms, which are flowering plants. And as I said, their reproductive structures are the flowers and the fruit. They are the most diverse and widespread plants on the planet. There are over 250,000 species. There is only one phylum, the Anthophyta. Until recently, taxonomists divided angiosperms into two classes, monocots and dicots. Monocots are characterized as one cotyledon, and they tend to have leaves with parallel veins. Dicots are characterized with two cotyledons in their seeds, and they tend to have leaves with net-like veins. However, recent analysis does place monocots in their own clade, but dicots don't all fit together. One clade, the eudicots, does include most dicots, but others belong to clades that diverged earlier. The oldest angiosperm branch belongs to a single species, Ambarilla trichopoda. Tracheids are long tapered xylem cells. They are for mechanical support and water transport. The xylem also has fiber cells for support and vessel elements. Those are short, wide cells arranged end to end in continuous tubes. The xylem vessels transport water better than the tracheids. There are three types of xylem cells contributing to the success of angiosperms, but the evolution of flowers and fruits contributed mostly to making angiosperms so successful. Flower is a specialized reproductive structure in angiosperms. It is made from specialized shoots with 4 circles of modified leaves. The sterile parts of the flower that are not involved in pollination are the sepals and the petals. The sepals enclose the flower before it opens, and the petals oftentimes brightly colored to attract pollinators. However, if the flowers are wind pollinators, they are not as brightly colored. The sporophylls are the stamens and the carpels. The stamens are the male reproductive parts. The stamen is the sporophyll that produces microspores, which become male gametophytes. The stamens are made of the filament and the anther is where the pollen is produced. The carpels or pistils are the female reproductive organ. They make megaspores, which become female gametophytes. The carpels have a sticky top called the stigma that the pollen attaches to. The style is the tube that is between the stigma and the ovary, and the ovary is at the base of the carpel. It contains the ovules. The ovules develop into seeds after fertilization. The fruit is the mature ovary. After fertilization, the ovules develop into seeds. The wall of the ovary thickens and becomes the pericarp. The fruit protects seeds and aids in dispersal. As the ovary grows, the flowers wither away. We can classify fruit depending on how they develop from either single ovaries or single flowers or groups of flowers. A simple fruit is from a single ovary. An example is a cherry. An aggregate fruit is from a single flower with several carpels. A strawberry or a blackberry would be examples of those. Multiple fruits form from a group of flowers clustered together, and the pineapple is an example of that. Remember that we've bred fruit to be bigger and better. Grains are also fruits with the dried pericarp stuck to the seed. If we look at the life cycle of the angiosperm, the pollen grains that develop on the anther contain the immature male gametophytes. They develop in the anthers of the stamens. Each pollen grain has 2 haploid sperm cells. The ovules develop in the ovaries. They contain the female gametophyte in the embryo sac. It consists of a few cells, one of which is the egg. When the pollen grain lands on the stigma, it grows a tube down inside the style. When it reaches the ovary, the pollen tube penetrates the ovule and releases 2 sperm cells. One unites with the eggs and forms the zygote. The other fuses with a 2N nuclei in the center of the female gametophyte, forming a triploid or 3N cell. This results in double fertilization. Next, the ovule matures into a seed. The zygote develops into a sporophyte embryo with a small root and 1 or 2 seed leaves. The seed leaves are cotyledons. A monocot has 1 seed leaf in the seed, and a dicot or eudicot has 2 seed leaves in the seeds. The endosperm develops from the 3-end nucleus. It is rich in starch and other food. So a seed contains the embryo, the endosperm, the sporangium, and the seed coat. Angiosperms in animals shaped one another's evolution. Coevolution is when 2 species mutually influence each other's evolution, and pollinators and the plants that they pollinate are an excellent example of that. In other words, pollinators evolved with the flowers that they pollinated, and they both influenced each other's evolution. All fruits, vegetables, and grains are angiosperms. Grains are the main food source of most people. In fact, rice, wheat, corn supply most of the energy for most of the human population. Plants are also used for fiber, like cotton and linen, for perfumes, for decoration, and for medicine. Rainforest destruction causes the extinction of hundreds of species of plants and animals each year. At 50 million acres per year, which is the size of Washington state, rainforests will be gone in 25 years. We have only explored the use of a small fraction of plant species. More than 25% of prescription drugs come from plants, and a lot of others were discovered in plants, then synthesized. Only about 5,000 plant species have been researched for medicinal purposes. Most drugs were originally discovered by local people. This is an excellent reason to save the rainforests. Here is a chart of different medicines that have been made from native plants.
Riders on the storm, riders on the storm. Into this house we're born, into this world we're thrown. Like a dog without a bone, and actor out alone. Riders on the storm, there's a killer on the road.